There comes a moment in every human life where the invisible hand of destiny pauses and waits, a moment where the universe stands still, watching, listening, measuring the weight of a single decision. And in that instant, the entire course of a man's existence can be altered, not by luck, not by chance, not by the shifting winds of fortune, but by the clarity and conviction of one choice. Decide, and the universe will obey. History is filled with men and women who understood the secret, though the world called it by different names. Edison did not stumble upon the light bulb by accident. He decided that he would bring light where there was darkness, and so the universe bent its laws to reveal the path through 10,000 failures. Lincoln did not rise from poverty and defeat to lead a broken nation because chance favored him. He decided that slavery would not outlive his watch, and so the forces of history aligned to his will. Henry Ford did not build an empire of steel and wheels because the world handed him a blueprint. He decided that the automobile would no longer be a luxury for the rich, but a necessity for the common man. And because he decided, the universe obeyed. But listen carefully. Decision is not a wish. It is not a half-hearted hope whispered in the dark. A decision is a command issued to your soul, a decree spoken with such certainty that doubt trembles at its sound. When you decide, you cut off every alternative. You burn the ships. You destroy the escape routes. You declare before the heavens and the earth that this is the path and nothing will turn you back. That kind of decision holds a magnetic power. It pulls circumstances, people, opportunities, and ideas out of the ether and assembles them at your feet. The tragedy, brother, is that most people never decide. They drift. They wait for the right time. They say they want success, but they leave open doors of retreat. They speak of freedom, but live as slaves of hesitation. They dream of wealth, but marry themselves to excuses. And so their lives become like ships without a rudder, tossed endlessly by the tides of circumstance. They never learn the truth, that the universe does not reward the timid, but it bends its knee to the decided. You must understand, the moment you decide with absolute clarity, you enter into covenant with the unseen. Call it faith, call it the law of attraction, call it the power of thought. Napoleon Hill called it the dominating desire, the burning obsession that transforms the invisible into the visible. Whatever name you give it, the principle remains. The universe reorganizes itself to match the vibration of a decided mind. Think of Carnegie, the steel magnate, who arrived in America as a poor Scottish immigrant with nothing but hunger in his belly. He decided he would not remain poor. He decided wealth would bend to his will. And though his beginnings were humble, his decision was not. That decision attracted opportunities, allies, and mentors until the boy became a titan, and the titan became a legend. Now ask yourself, what is the difference between Carnegie and the countless immigrants who arrived with the same poverty but left the world nameless? The answer is one word: decision. Decision is the gateway to power. Without it, belief is vague, purpose is blurred, action is scattered. But when decision takes hold, belief crystallizes, purpose ignites, action multiplies. Decision is a spark that lights the fire of faith. And faith, once burning, becomes unstoppable. So I ask you, what have you truly decided? Not what you say you want. Not what you wish would happen if circumstances were kind. What have you commanded with such intensity that the universe has no choice but to obey? Because if you have not yet decided, then you are not yet living. You are merely existing. The man who decides becomes dangerous to mediocrity. He becomes a threat to limitation. His eyes shift, his voice strengthens. His very presence carries an authority that others feel but cannot explain. It is as if he has tapped into a current that the rest of the world cannot see. He becomes magnetic. Doors that were locked suddenly open. People who doubted him now feel compelled to assist him. Ideas that seemed impossible reveal themselves like constellations in the night sky. But beware, decision is not without cost. The universe does not obey the undecided because it cannot trust them. And when you do decide, you will be tested, not by enemies, not by fate, but by the very laws that govern growth. You will be tried through struggle, resistance, delay, and even betrayal. But these are not signs of failure. They're the universe asking, how serious are you? How deep does your decision run? And only those who remain unshaken prove worthy of obedience. Every man and woman is confronted by the same question, though few ever answer it. What do you want your life to mean? The timid avoid it. The weak bury it. But the strong, the courageous, the decided, they stare into that question until it consumes them. And when it does, it forges in them a clarity so sharp that the noise of the world cannot cut through it. Clarity is the twin brother decision. Together, they form the foundation upon which empires are built. Without clarity, a decision is brittle. It cracks under the weight of uncertainty. But when clarity fuels your decision, nothing can shake you. You no longer chase everything that glitters. You pursue only that which aligns with your vision. Vision, that sacred word, misunderstood by so many. Vision is not a dream you see in the distance. Vision is a lens through which you view every moment of your existence. Walt Disney was a man of vision. He walked through swamps of Florida and saw castles rising above kingdoms that did not yet exist. Where others saw mud and mosquitoes, he saw fireworks and laughter. He was ridiculed, mocked, doubted, and scorned, yet his vision did not bend. And today, generations walk through the very dream he once carried alone. Understand this. Your vision is a seed. But a seed without soil, water, and sunlight is wasted. Soil is your decision, the firm ground where the seed is planted. Water is your discipline, the daily actions that nourish it. Sunlight is your faith, the invisible energy that fuels its growth. Without these, your vision remains a fantasy. With them, your vision becomes inevitable. But here is where most falter. They confuse wishing with vision. Wishing is weak. Wishing waits for rescue. Vision commands. Vision demands. Vision takes hold of your soul and does not let go. You know you have vision not when it excites you, but when it terrifies you. Because true vision always demands more of you than you think you can give. And that is the point. Vision pulls you upward. Vision stretches your capacity. Vision burns away your excuses until only the essential man remains. Ask yourself, what is your vision? Not the small version you tell your friends so they don't laugh. Not the safe version you whisper so you won't risk embarrassment. What is the vision that makes your heart pound and your palms sweat? What is the vision so audacious that it almost offends your own logic? That is the vision worth deciding for, because only a vision that scares you has the power to transform you. Think of Abraham Lincoln. His vision was not just to end slavery. It was to preserve the very idea of a nation bound by freedom. He had nothing but enemies, even in his own government. He faced defeat after defeat, yet his vision carried him through the fire of civil war. That vision cost him everything, including his life, but gave birth to a new chapter in history. Vision backed by decision is immortal, but vision without discipline is delusion. Discipline is a hammer that strikes the iron of decision until it becomes unbreakable. Discipline is not glamorous. It is not loud. It does not post its progress for applause. Discipline is the silent march at dawn, the repetition of small acts, the refusal to negotiate with laziness. It is a soldier that stands guard over your vision when the world tempts you with distractions. Henry Ford practiced discipline. He did not invent the automobile. Others had already tinkered with engines and carriages. What he did was apply relentless discipline to make it better, cheaper, faster, and available to the masses. He decided, he envisioned, and then he disciplined himself and his team to perfect the process until the impossible became ordinary. That is why his name is remembered, while the names of his competitors have turned to dust. Brother, the difference between the extraordinary and forgotten is often a single word: discipline. The man who cannot discipline his habits cannot command his destiny. You cannot demand obedience from a universe if you cannot first demand obedience from yourself. Decision is a spark, vision is a flame, but discipline is the oxygen. Without it, the fire dies. And yet, even discipline alone is not enough, because life will strike. Circumstances will collapse. The ground beneath you will crack. The plans you thought were perfect will unravel. And in those moments, when nothing seems to work, you will need the power of resilience. Resilience is the art of rising. It is a refusal to stay down when you've been struck. It is the grit that whispers, "Not yet, I'm not finished." Thomas Edison was resilience incarnate. Over 10,000 failures in pursuit of a light bulb that worked. 10,000 nights of mockery. 10,000 whispers of "give up." But he refused, and when he finally succeeded, the entire world moved from darkness to light. That is resilience. The decided mind does not beg for an easy road. It does not pray for comfort. It demands growth. It welcomes challenge. It embraces adversity. Because adversity is proof that your decision has weight. The mountain proves the strength of the climber. The storm reveals the courage of the sailor. The struggle refines the soul of the dreamer. When you decide with clarity, when you anchor yourself with vision, when you march daily in discipline, and when you rise resilient from every blow, you become unstoppable. Not because the world will make it easy, but because no force in existence can break the will of a man who has truly decided. Faith, brother, is the unseen currency of achievement. It is the bridge between decision and manifestation. You cannot touch it, you cannot measure it, yet it bends reality itself. The man of faith walks through darkness as if he carries the sun inside his chest. While the doubter waits for proof, the believer moves, and in moving, creates proof. Faith is not blind. Faith is sight at a higher level. It is vision sharpened until it pierces through the fog of circumstance. When Carnegie stood at the bottom of society's ladder, faith told him he would not remain there. When Edison stood in a workshop littered with broken experiments, faith told him that every failure was one step closer to victory. When Ford was ridiculed for his horseless carriage, faith told him he would silence the world with engines. Faith is not merely hoping. It is knowing that the unseen is more real than the seen, knowing that the idea in your mind is not fantasy, but blueprint. Napoleon Hill declared, "What the mind can conceive and believe, it can achieve." This is not poetic language. It is law. Just as gravity pulls a stone to earth, faith pulls a dream into form. But hear this. Faith cannot coexist with fear. Fear is the thief of destiny. Fear whispers, "Wait, not now. You're not ready. What if you fail? What will they think?" And too many men obey fear until their lives expire in regret. Faith says, "Now, move, act as if it is already done." Faith demands courage. Faith demands trust in yourself and in the unseen order of the universe. When you decide, the universe obeys, but obeys through the channels of faith. Without faith, your decision crumbles. Without faith, your vision dies in silence. Without faith, discipline turns to drudgery and resilience to despair. But with faith, every action gains power. Every step becomes amplified. Every setback becomes a setup for something greater. Look at history. Every leader, every titan, every creator who bent the world to his will carried one thing in common: faith that refused to bend. Lincoln had no guarantee that the Union could survive. Gandhi had no assurance that a nation could be freed through nonviolence. Martin Luther King Jr. had no evidence that equality would triumph. But faith gave them strength to stand against oceans of opposition, and in standing they moved mountains. So ask yourself, do you carry faith or do you carry fear? When your mind is quiet, when the lights are off, what voice do you listen to? Because your destiny is decided not by circumstances, but by the voice you choose to obey. And yet, faith alone without action is lifeless. You must act. You must move. You must step into the arena even when your knees shake. Action is the proof of decision. Action is the evidence of faith. Too many sit and wait, praying for success to arrive at their doorstep. But the universe does not serve the idle. It serves the active. It answers the man in motion. Action creates momentum. Momentum creates opportunities. Opportunities create transformation. Every great fortune began with a first step taken in faith. Do not wait for the stars to align. Do not wait for permission. The universe does not reward hesitation. It rewards decisive action backed by relentless faith. And as you act, remember gratitude. Gratitude is the compass that keeps your soul aligned. Without gratitude, success turns bitter. Without gratitude, wealth becomes chains. Gratitude transforms every obstacle into a teacher, every setback into a blessing, every victory into a reminder of grace. Gratitude humbles the proud, strengthens the weary, and multiplies abundance. The grateful man cannot be broken, for even in loss he sees gain. Discipline, resilience, faith, action, gratitude These are not separate virtues. They are a single symphony, each note strengthening the other. Together, they make you unstoppable. Together, they create a man who commands his destiny. Together, they prove the truth, decide, and the universe will obey. And now we reach the heart of it all. Decision is not about success alone. Decision is not merely about wealth or achievement. Decision is about becoming the fullest version of yourself. It is about answering the question, why was I born? Every man carries within him a purpose, a divine assignment written on the soul. And until he decides to live it, he will remain restless, empty, searching. Purpose is the highest form of decision. When you align your decision with your purpose, you no longer chase success. Success chases you. You no longer hunt wealth. Wealth flows through you. You no longer fear failure. Failure itself becomes fuel. Purpose makes you eternal. Because even when your body fades, your legacy remains. Think of it. Edison's light still burns. Lincoln's words still echo. Disney's dream still inspires. Carnegie's steel still builds. Ford's vision still drives. They are gone, yet they remain because they decided and the universe obeyed. So, brother, hear me now. Your life is not an accident. Your breath is not random. The universe waits for your decision. Will you rise, or will you drift? Will you command, or will you bow? Will you live as a creator, or will you die as a spectator? The power is in you. Not tomorrow, not someday. Now, decide who you are. Decide what you will become. Decide what your vision is worth. Decide what legacy you will leave behind. And once you decide, stand unshaken. Act with faith. Discipline your mind. Rise with resilience. Burn with gratitude. Live with purpose. Because when you truly decide, heaven and earth will conspire in your favor. The universe itself will rearrange its laws to honor your command. Doors will open. Forces will align. Time will bend. Reality itself will shift. Decide, and the universe will obey.